So we are able to do the safer, slightly less fun version, and that's using the heater. All right, here we go. We did not wear helmets this time, so gotta watch out for falling debris. First grinding of 2026, here we go. Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. All right, Saturday morning, and it's not ridiculously cold out today, which is refreshing. Because on the list for today and the rest of this weekend, we got a couple things we want to do. We're gonna start out. We got to start trying to thaw out the bottom of the elevator because it's kind of frozen in the ground. It could involve a heater, or it could involve fire. We're not sure yet. One gets way more interesting than the other. So this is our eagle that had the water belly baby last year. So she'll be a second calf calver. And the other day I was really worried because I don't know if you guys can see it. You can tell her tail's a little bit shorter, but like right at the tip of her tail, she's got a little bit of some drips of blood. The other day, I was out here and I was looking and I'm like, I saw the little drips of blood and I'm like, no freaking way. Because she is due. She's in that first AI group. I was like, no way. There's no way she kicked out her calf like 3 weeks prior. Because then the next couple of days, she had some nice clean discharge like they normally do as they're getting, like that, as they're getting closer to calving. They'll do that. But now I look at her now and it looks like she must have gotten her tail stepped on or something, because it looks like it's about 4 inches shorter. So not that I'm relieved that she got her tail stepped on, but that is why the little drips of blood. So the rest of it came off, unfortunately. But she's setting up a really nice bag, that's for sure. And then we got Cora May here, she is just starting to work. I hate it when they do this little circle. I want to get a good look at their bag and they keep going in circles. She's got just a little bag working there. And then Barb just stood up for me. So she's right here next to the fence. Still in with the calves. So we just keep an eye on her and see how she progresses, and she's been getting along pretty well with them. They tease her a little bit, but I think for the most part they leave her alone. All right, so here's the only plus to not having the steers in their pen is we got that outlet to run over there. So straight shot, probably only about 50 yards. But we gotta see if we got enough cord. So I'm gonna start stringing cord and get that heater hooked up. And we brought the good one from the shop. So we are able to do the safer, slightly less fun version, and that's using the heater. So we got it set up, pointing down there, and then that'll heat this up. That'll also start heating up in here, actually getting all that steel nice and hot. The other thing we might do is grab either a tarp or see if we can find some plywood, set it up on the edges, keep that heat inside. And Dodge came out to play, right, Bubba? It is so much nicer out today. Plus the sun, it actually feels decent, which is weird. Last day of January. It only took like 6 months to get here. All right, we've been running for about a half hour, 45 minutes. Got some good water. But we got a tarp. We're gonna lay it around there so it kind of traps the heat in. All right, so we got our tarp set up. Just trying to play around with a little bit. But what's crazy, I mean, I guess not so much. But this is up on top, so you got 2 layers of steel. There's this one, then the chain and everything will ride underneath here as it comes back, but the air right here is really flipping warm. I mean, it's 80-degree air, which is so nice. But then there's this layer of steel as well. So not only are we heating up the steel, but now we're trapping the air, so it'll hang in there a little nicer. Yeah, this shouldn't take too long. Still a no-go, but that's all right. We got fuel. I'm gonna go get a broom because, I mean, we have the heater on the backside and the hitch is still kind of froze in and it's under like an inch or two of water. Well, it's gonna take forever to heat up that water plus the ice. So gonna get a broom, kind of brush that water out of there. Well, we're going on about 2 hours running the heater, still not totally thawed out. And we were making progress, but just had to put some diesel back in it, and yeah, we'll just let it run. It's fine. Cost us some diesel, cost us some diesel. Well, we finally got it out. It took quite a bit. It's been running for probably 2.5 hours, but we finally got it out. So now all we're really doing is where the chain kind of comes around the front, because it was sitting, then that fills up with junk and ice and water, and it's just frozen solid. So we're just thawing that out right down there. That'd probably only take about a half hour. And then once that's loose enough and we can get it to spin over with the chain, because we can move the chain by the motor pulley on the side. Once we get that loose, then we're good to go. All right, we are to this point in our wonderful day. We finally got the elevator free, we got the chain free, and we have it in place. So now we're gonna go fill it. All right, so we got her all backed in. It should be good to go up on this end. It's a little tipped to the side, but it'll be fine. All right, here we go. We did not wear helmets this time, so gotta watch out for falling debris. First grinding of 2026, here we go. We are finally going. So Dad'll do his thing, and I'll do my thing. I'll be getting the mix from the feed mill put in there, and we'll go with our normal 3-3-2 mix, and then make these guys happy. All right, first batch is done, which means I can start feeding, because it is actually feeding time. And we actually discussed that since we're now into 2026, now we're gonna make another step and start pushing a little more grain to them. Because they are getting to that size, and we definitely don't want to skimp them on their grain, because they are growing kids. They need to get big and strong. These guys always love fresh grain, because it does get a little bit cobby towards the end of the bin. Like you can kind of see this stuff, you get these bigger chunks, that's the cob. So you get a lot more of that towards the end when the bin is running low. I don't know if it's just the way everything falls, and just like your last day or two, it gets very cobby. You can tell with the buckets too, they're a lot lighter. But everybody is happy. So far, I think Nikon here, little photo, is probably our overall best heifer we got. And she is a factor daughter. But the girls are looking pretty good. This one right here, this True Justice, is a little smaller, but again, this is the one who lost her mom. So there's two things. One, she lost her mom, so she lost a little bit of growth. You know, is she stunted? I don't think so. But her mom was also pretty small framed, so she might just end up being a small frame animal. So, but she's still there. She'll be fine. They got February, March, April. They got 3 months. Right now they're probably, I'd say they're probably in that 800 range. You know, you got 3 months at like even 2 pounds a day. You know, so they'll be in that like 950-ish range when they get bred, and that's a good size. And we just bring the gravity box right back over here, and we usually park it right under the elevator, so it is good to go for the next time we need it. So this batch should take us into end of February, probably like first week of March, give or take. Depends on how much we tick up the grain. Dad's gonna grab the bucking plate because we're not even gonna try to back that up here with the 29 because it's just not gonna go. Dad actually hit that one perfect, which is really nice because if it starts to go one way or the other, then it'll kind of start to like do a little bit of a jackknife, and then he'll lose a little traction in the front end. But no, that one he hit perfect. Then you can build up a little momentum. You don't have to worry about nothing. And this time we don't have to put a stupid gravity box up in the barn. That's kind of nice too. All right, last thing on the list for the day. Steers have been getting into a little bit of mischief. Nothing major, just a little bit of something. That gate that we have for the going from the long pen into the loafing shed. Yeah, it's like they're getting in there and they're nosing that wooden panel over to the side, and they push it in. All right, wide open, should be good to go now. And actually, it's probably not a bad idea to start getting them into this long pen anyways, like they're coming for grain, because then eventually we got to get them in to this pen for when we want to load them up. These are the winter days. I don't mind at all. Mid-20s, sunny, and now that we're into end of February and March, that sun feels really good. And the more you get into February, like by the time you get to end of February and mid-20s and sunny in end of February, you can just feel the sun. It's awesome. I love it. And the days are getting longer. Hey, good morning. All right, getting going on a Sunday morning. Just gonna do a quick once around and then we'll head down to the shop. I want to just double check some waters. It's not super cold out this morning, but checking the waters also gets me out here. Gotta look at the cows. Not really expecting a whole lot. Take a quick spin through the crowd here and look everybody over and get down to the shop. They finally ate this bale feeder down pretty decent. There's still some left in there, but after a couple of days of not finishing it and leaving stuff in there, we just put some new stuff on top of it and kind of trick them into finishing it and eating it down a little more. Come on, fats. That one really fat heifer still hasn't really thinned out at all, but that's fine. She's gonna be in really nice shape come this year. And she's got herself a nice little bag going. I believe she has a Gibbs Essential. I'd have to double check. So yeah, back in the shop. Obviously no trailer in here, but we do have the door to work on. And also, I wouldn't mind trying to fix that or replace that heater plug for the Mahindra, because that would be nice. I mean, winter's not over yet. So we're onto the back side of the door. We did the other side. We've got that taped off. We caulked this joint on the other side with that same stuff we used last time. That's this stuff, and it seems to dry pretty solid. So hopefully it works. And I've got this all wire wheel down. I don't know if we need to hit this anymore because we're gonna tape this off, prime this, plus this, come up the sides a little bit, but we need to caulk this seam first, and then we want to caulk this, maybe come up a little ways on the side, but then that stuff's got to cure, and then we'll prime it probably later on this week. All right, so we're gonna head and take a little bit of a lunch break, but we're kind of at that point where we're kind of done and on hold with one project. And this afternoon, or at least early afternoon, we're gonna bring the Mahindra in and try and replace that heater plug. So we got this over closer to the furnace, so it helps dry this out, helps it keep a little bit warmer. This is just taped off because I'm essentially gonna prime from the tape down, depending, I mean, however it adheres up here. Down here should be good. I wire wheeled the piss out of it. This stuff should be fine. I did also wipe it down. I'll probably wipe it down again. Mahindra is in the shop, but not for the same reason it was in the shop 4 times last year. So we're going to, and I gotta start, there's like one sheet you gotta, or one panel you gotta take off, pop the hood, and it's right there. And actually I should fire that back up and turn the wheel so we have a little more access. So you take this little side shield off and it is right here. So it's right behind that shield. Fill oil here, side shield goes right here. So that plug is literally right there. And there are a couple spots on here, kind of a nice time that I can get in here and blow some of the garbage off of the like radiator and stuff like that. But found the drain. It's actually in a decent spot, but you need tiny hands to get at it. But we are right here, and I think it'll fall right into there without really hitting anything. And if I can do this without knocking, too much stuff off. All right, we'll let that drain. All right, so we got the old one out, which wasn't super easy, but they do give you some flats on here so we don't have to take this out of the hoses, which is what Dad wanted to do. And we tried to take it out and it was actually pretty stubborn because it's obviously been there for a while. We're gonna put a little tape on the threads, get this guy screwed in, and we should be good to go. All right, so this guy is done, buttoned back up. We did plug it in and I could feel the plug getting warm. So maybe tomorrow we're gonna plug it in maybe an hour before we feed and see how well it does. The other nice thing is, went around and got the loader all greased up. There's a couple grease zerks to hit underneath in the front end. So it's nice to hit those. And I think the last thing, we're gonna double check our front gear oil and see how we look there. And then head to the farm and get our feeding done. All right, down at the farm, and it is a 2-bale night, so we'll get that out there. And then I did lock up our FL 913, our Eagle cow that had the water belly baby last year. She was in our first AI group, but she has a really nice bag. Not really swollen up in the back end though, but she does have a really nice bag. So I'm gonna throw her in, and I'm hoping we can get the border set up tonight but it will take some chipping on my part. Yeah, and I don't know why I ever came up with that. Like when I process things in my brain and I look at like mineral, if I'm buying mineral, I always kind of look at like the Purina Wind and Rain as like, or Purina Wind and Rain, maybe what is that other one? So I always consider like Purina Wind and Rain. There's a couple other ones that are like that A range, like they would be kind of my top of the line type stuff, or what I would prefer. And then the NutriBeef would be in that B range because it is a lower price. Is it a lower price for what reason? All right, just made a check on Barb. Even though she's making some good progress, she still has quite a ways to go. So we're gonna make our push on setting up the border tomorrow night. So that means tonight I'll throw a little more salt on those legs to hopefully free them up easier. You know, sometimes I see Factor and I'm like, you know, he's not that big of a bull, you know, and then sometimes he walks around and it's like, yeah, he's got the look. He's definitely acceptable. We got one more season with Factor, and then we'll see if he finds a new home or makes some good burgers. Hopefully we can find him a new home. That'd be kind of cool. So far, our 3 best heifers, the 2 full bloods and 29, are 3 best heifers, and they're all out of Factor. So something to be said about that.